Hello and welcome to today's video. How do you maximize your score in GS paper 3? Now GS paper 3 is one of the area where you get very low score, or UPSC mein, if you look at the trend, it is the lowest among all the GS papers. Iske kya reason hai? What are the reason? And let's look at the toppers also. If you look at the last few years, Aditya Srivastava AIR 1 scored 95, Ishta Kishore AIR 1 scored 88, Mayur Hajarika scored 102, Shruti Sharma scored 108. So if you look at it, the scores in the GS3 are lowest, and I want to give you a data of 2022. If you look at the data of 2022, the top 10 jo ranker hai, you can look here, the GS3 score, and you can compare with GS1, SA, GS2 and GS4. In GS4, you can see the toppers have consistently scored very high. They have scored very high, unlike here the score above 100 abhi bahut kam, there is only 2 score above 100, and here sare score above 100 hai. GS2 also high scoring, GS1 also high scoring, and SA is definitely high scoring. So when you look at the data, aapko ek baat samajh mein aayegi that the data is suggesting that GS3 score is less. Now question is why? There are multiple reasons. The first reason is that GS3 is a very dynamic area and it is highly current based. Second, it has 5 subjects. It has 5 subjects. So you are being judged on 5 areas. The 5 subjects: economics, internal security, disaster management, environment, and these are the areas which will be judging your, and science and tech, of course. So when you look at these 5 areas, तो ये सारे areas dynamic हैं, current based हैं, and they take a lot of you to prepare, and it takes the effort also. So naturally as an aspirant हमारा focus ये होना चाहिए कि हम GS3 में कैसे score को बढ़ाएं, and here I'll be focusing on my subjects GS3 Indian economy, because GS3 Indian economy में on an average you are getting 100 marks, 100 to 110 marks से questions आपके आते हैं, almost 40% of the GS3 paper. So I'll be helping you in this area, and that is where GS3 के हम लोग economics की बात करते हैं. Let's see the syllabus of this. So you can look at the syllabus, you can read the syllabus and understand the syllabus. So just make a gloss through of the syllabus. Syllabus को देखिए. Okay, when you look at the syllabus is very defined, and इतना ज़्यादा नहीं है. You can cover the syllabus in matter of 3-4 days. But my question is that how do you score high? And that is where we have to think out of box. The first is you have to understand the demand of the exam. UPSC is going to ask analytical questions. If I'm talking about economy is very dynamic. They will ask you on trends, analysis, your viewpoint. Question has multiple subparts. So there is an analytical approach. You have to have deep understanding of the concepts and real world application. Similarly, the fact-based answers. Now today I'll show you, last year mains में जो एक question आया था, I'll be showing that how it is interlinkage. So fact-based answer means you need to have a data, statistics, example. You need to understand that do we have any government schemes or policy where हम जहाँ focus कर रहे हैं, or interlinkage is available or not, because interlinkages, economy concept can be linked with environment, with social justice, change, technology and security. So when you look at holistically, that will push your answer to next level. Then let's see, I'm showing you a toppers copy. So let's see, first is analytical approach. Do your answer have analytical approach? Now when you look at this answer, commercialization of agriculture has led to perpetual indebtedness of farmers. Comment. It's a very basic question. So the basic definition is there. Then there are fact data is there. Okay, you can see here there are fact data are there. The answer is very structured. There is introduction, there is a body. Okay, there is analysis in terms of the pointers. Okay, structuring is there. There are data and statistics which are there from multiple sources. For example, economic survey, Niti Aayog. Now that is where the data makes important, because that data makes your answer more relevant and you substantiate the argument. आपने कहा India poor है and you put the data. That argument is substantiated. So आपका जो approach होना चाहिए, that is where you need to push yourself and make your answer more effective by incorporating data, fact, analysis, trend, but आपका thought process clear होना चाहिए, and that is very important. Then the diagram and flow chart, very important. You can use diagrams, flow chart, examples. Now that will make your answer more visually appealing. Okay, for any good answer, the presentation is also very important. The content is important. The presentation is important. Are you answering all the part and dimension is important? Okay, so it makes your concepts and interlinkage is there. This helps you make your answers more accessible and demonstrate your understanding. So high score approach में ये approach रहेगा. Now let's look at it here. Now here government schemes are being, now you're using data for agricultural census. You are telling about government schemes. So PM Fasal Bima Yojana, this is a government scheme. Okay. So you can, technical words are there, data is there. Okay, you can see here the committees like यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है Ragurajan committee, Raghuram Rajan committee. Then you have Fasal Bima Yojana. We have agricultural census. So within the same answer, okay, you have a lot of data, facts. You can see while 21% lending, through money lenders. Now these data help you. The policy focus is there. The diagram is not there, but you can make a diagram also. Okay. So interlinkage is very important. Clear heading, subheading, bullet points. This will help your answer more structured. Evaluation आसान हो जाता है. Okay. So you can look here. The subheading is there. The bulleting is there. Okay. You can see here the bulleting is there. Okay. Underline is there. Key points. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Okay. Easier access to credit. Okay. There are technical words is there. So all these are there, and you can make a good answer more effective. This is a topper copy, and I'm sharing you the topper copies also. So now what you need to do is that practice, analyze it, compare with topper copies, see the difference, and also get it evaluated. Now one approach is that from where I should be studying this. From where I should be studying this. Now one approach is that once your basic aapka ready hai, once your basic sources are ready, it is important that you follow economic survey. Make a summary of economic survey in terms of notes and add to your answer. Niti Aayog reports are very insightful for you. Government scheme, data, facts, current affair can be integrated in your understanding. Then NCERT economics books, very good for foundation reading, for analytical answers. Not all, kuch chapters important hai. I'll tell you the chapters also which can be read for the mains examination for basic economic principles. The toppers copies can be read, analyze toppers copies, learn presentation and content, how it can be effectively driven. So when you look at these things, your GS3 scores will automatically go up by 5 to 10 marks. That is my understanding. Now let's talk about how do you write a good answer. So I have put a model answer. This is a question for last year mains, और ये last year के जो mains का question है, if you look at it, what are the causes of persistent high inflation in India? Comment on the effectiveness of monetary policy of the RBI to control this type of inflation. Now India में जो inflation है, that inflation has been broadly multiple reasons. So food inflation, fuel inflation एक major inflation है, and the food inflation जो है वो mainly it is because of supply side bottleneck. But RBI की जो policy है inflation targeting, that is focusing on the demand pull inflation, not the supply side issue. If the monsoon failure is there, RBI policy will be less effective. In fact, it will be counter effective, because when RBI reduce money supply, economic growth might be impacted. Also, the inflation data that we are using, that data is based on the base year of 11-12. It has high component of food basket. Now, but the spending pattern, the consumption pattern has changed. So, जो inflation का measuring parameter है, that is also not right. The food basket का weightage कम होना चाहिए. The food basket should be less. So, but let's see how you write this answer for the mains examination. So, the introduction is like this. So, India faces persistent high food inflation driven by both structural and supply side factors. It is caused by rising input cost, supply chain disruption, climate shock, and low agricultural productivity. Now, these are structural problem, supply side problem. RBI cannot address them. इसके लिए investment करना होगा, agriculture को improve करना होगा. But let's say the problem is somewhere else and the medicine is somewhere else. But what will RBI do? RBI is the body which is mainly involved in monetary management, monetary supply, credit creation, money supply. So first let's get into the reason. The first reason is supply side constraint, weather-induced crop failures, unseasonal rain, El Nino in 2023, inadequate cold storage and logistics, 30 to 40% perishable items, okay, they are lost in the post-harvest activity, rising input cost, okay, sharp rise in fertilizer, diesel, labor cost, MSP hike. MSP rose from this. Now MSP hike also causes inflation, because when MSP goes up, the input cost, the market prices will automatically go up. Then changing consumption pattern, rising demand for protein, dairy, food product. So there is a protein inflation that India is witnessing, because demand for protein is high. protein items are high. Consumption patterns have also changed. So one end we have the items which are cheaper, and other end we have items which are more in demand. Then policy bottleneck, export bans, import restriction. Now this also create uncertainty and price volatility. For example, wheat and onions exports were banned. Then fragmented agricultural market. For example, right now still India, the farmers have to sell through APMC market. Now APMC market, there is a monopoly. You have fewer options to sell otherwise or outside. Now that is where these are the challenges which makes your agricultural more costly. Input cost goes up and the inflation is high, but it is a structural problem, supply side problem. RBI will do what? It will reduce money supply. Inflation increase, RBI reduces money supply, and that is inflation will come down because demand will come down, but problem is somewhere else. So what is the way forward? What should be done? So RBI's monetary policy is effective, such as repo rate hike by RBI, cumulatively 250 basis points since May 2022. It is less effective in curbing food inflation as it is not demand driven. It is not demand driven. Okay. So आपका जो repo rate hike है, that will reduce money supply, but it will not address supply issue. Controls demand pull inflation, less effective in food inflation driven by supply shock. Example, despite high repo rate, CPI food inflation was also high. So you increase the repo rate, but food inflation was also high. So inflation to control हुआ नहीं. So this is something which is effectiveness is being questioned. Impacts economic growth because money supply or liquidity नहीं है, money supply कम कर दिया. All other sectors get impacted. The business, the other sector, the loans become costlier. So it leads to liquidity concerns. Then food weightage in the inflation basket is not as per consumption trend. Abhi consumption trend has changed. People are spending more. Income has gone up. But food weightage is based on 2012 consumption pattern. So this data is again less effective. Okay. So as per various economists, focus should be more on the core inflation rather than headline inflation. Core means inflation minus food and fuel. Hence, RBI alone cannot address persistent food inflation without coordinated fiscal and agri policy measures. So it needs a coordination from government of fiscal policy as well. Now, I have listed some government schemes also. This is for students who are preparing. For example, government scheme is Kisan Sampada Yojana for food processing industry, ENAM for agricultural market integration, price stabilization fund to control inflation, especially in the area of top crops, tomato, onion, potato. Then crop diversification and smart irrigation. Now this will increase agro productivity. The supply issue would be addressed. Better forecasting and climate resilience. Okay, through agrometric advisory input, AI का technology का use कर सकते हैं. All those things will actually help the supply side issue. And majorly, Indian economy requires investment in agriculture, which is long term. And structural reforms is key to address supply side issue. It should be furthered through strong supply side reform, agri infrastructure investment, and stable trade policy. So that is in totality is what is needed. So I hope you understood. Now people who want to take this PPT, the PDF, I'll share that in my Telegram channel. Now these are the mentorship courses for people who are targeting UPSC, Laksh, Prayas, and Sarthak. So you can reach out to my team for any kind of support. Thank you very much. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and be regular for preparation updates. Bye-bye.